I'll yeah, yeah. Oh, how sweet it is. Welcome back to the campus of Middle Tennessee State University, and we are live with Blue Raider Extra Point, and we cannot wait. We've got an action-packed show today. Dylan Simmons, Evan Snyder, and filling in for Mr. Brett Walker, Jacob Burgess. Fellas, how are we doing today?
Doing good. Glad to be back. Been a while. Been a little bit, but we're back. It's good to be back in the saddle.
I'm glad to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, we wish Brett the best. He's got a case of the sickness, but he will be back in the short future. For now, it's time to take it around the CUSA with Mr. Evan Snyder. Evan, give us the deets.
It's been a while since the last iteration of Around the CUSA, but let's get caught up. In the standings, Western Kentucky stands at the top, along with Jacksonville State at 4-0 in conference play, along with another frontrunner, Sam Houston, at 4-1, which all three teams are being highlighted this week in Around the CUSA. Western Kentucky are riding high with a dominating win versus Kennesaw State, making this the Hilltoppers' third straight win in a row and stay unbeaten at home with a 4-0 record. Caden Vilkamp looked stellar, throwing for 276 yards and 3 touchdowns. Elijah Young helped out big time with 114 rushing yards to go along with it. Look for Western Kentucky to keep rolling versus New Mexico State. A team that's red hot right now is Jacksonville State, taking out conference champions Liberty 31-21 last week. Jacksonville State now has a 5-game win streak after dropping their first 3 games of the season. In this game against Liberty, Trey Stewart was the X factor who rushed for over 232 yards and 4 touchdowns. Tyler Huff made up for his lack of throwing with 140 rushing yards of his own. La Tech is next up this weekend for the Gamecocks. Lastly is a sleeper team in Sam Houston. For a team that was 3-9 last year, head coach Casey Keeler has turned things around to make the Bearcats 7-2. The Bearcats were able to pull off a grueler versus La Tech, beating the Bulldogs 9-3, with the only touchdown coming the way of running back Jay Decker, who also rushed for 72 yards. Another highlight was an interception from Kayla Weaver, who returned it for 24 yards. Sam Houston looks to turn things up versus Kennesaw State today at 2 p.m.
All right, great stuff, Evan. And what was really interesting with that is how good Sam Houston and Liberty have gotten as of later. Sam Houston and Western Kentucky, I should say, 2 of the prime contenders in CUSA.
I'll say, you mentioned Liberty. Liberty's lost their last 2 games, one of them being against Kennesaw State. And I think, honestly, that win for Kennesaw State has kind of awoken their offense a little bit. They did struggle against Western Kentucky last week, but they had some offense production. And Sam Houston as well, that La Tech game was a tough watch. I'm not going to lie to you.
Right.
But they're able to pull one out against La Tech, getting a safety, which is huge for their defense. They have a really good defensive line and a good defense overall, and that's what kept them in that ball game. And I think Sam Houston has kind of emerged as a front runner in the conference, potentially for a conference championship. I mean, they're sitting at 4-1. They need to win this weekend as well, and just hope, either West Kentucky or also Jacksonville State lose a game as well.
How about Sam Houston coming off that great comeback from a year ago and becoming one of the best teams in CUSA? It's awesome to see 7-2 now. But speaking of CUSA matchups, let's take a look at some of them right now on your screen. We've got a full day of CUSA action coming your way. Kennesaw State takes on UTEP, Jacksonville State versus Louisiana Tech in Ruston, Western Kentucky versus New Mexico State in Las Cruces, and of course, Liberty takes on the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders right here in Murfreesboro. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout and be right back to Murfreesboro with the scoop and scouting report. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Blue Raider Extra Point.
The Stars come to Middle Tennessee State University, and students come here to become stars no matter what they pursue. We're the only college of media and entertainment in the world, just outside the heart of Nashville.
Look, mic check, 1, 2, everybody listen. When you do it like this, ain't no competition. I'm talking B.I.G., VIP. Treat them like a front row seat and make them pay attention. If I shoot for the 3, then I ain't never missing. Cranking up the degrees like I was in the kitchen. Not too much to prove, and when you do it all, it gets too hard to do.
Our curriculum and facilities are cutting edge, and our relationships with industry leaders give students an edge over the competition. Check it out. You can get real-world experience with degrees in recording industry, media arts, journalism and strategic media, and more. Media and entertainment at Middle Tennessee State University. Learn to shine.
Okay, Adam, let's get a quick mic check.
Yeah, sure. Blue Raider Extra Point is live at the Hall of Fame.
Hey, you and Dylan are going to be on camera 2 this week, all right?
All right, got it.
Lightning! Hey, Lightning! You can come watch us.
Oh, is that lightning?
Hey, even better, why don't you come join us?
Oh, hey, Lightning, what's up?
Better yet, you can take Noah's spot.
The new host of Blue Raider Extra Point, the one, the only Lightning.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the beautiful Grove here at Middle Tennessee State University. So Brett Walker, unfortunately unable to be here with us, but he's still getting to scoop with us where he sat down with Alan York of Liberty. Let's take a look at the scoop.
What's kind of the vibe around the team and just around campus about having to, face some adversity for the first time in a bit?
Yeah, it's been tough. I'll be honest with you. You get, as a fan base, and even doing what we do, you get spoiled when you have a lot of success, and in some ways you probably think it's going to come easy. And as we all know, sports is not easy. Winning games is not easy. Life is not easy sometimes. And so, but the team's keeping their head held high. They still have a path to the Conference USA Championship, but they'll need some help from Jacksonville State.
There's been some kind of receiver, I won't say woes because they've just been injured. So how have they kind of been dealing with that and those kind of adjustments?
That's been the frustrating part of this season. Even from game 1 all the way until now game 8, Liberty has not played with a full deck of guards. Primarily has been the wide receiver group that has had the lion's share of these bumps and bruises. And so we hope with a couple of extra days off since they played middle of last week that they can get some of the guys back.
All right, great to hear from Mr. York over there at Liberty. Also, get well soon, Brett. Hopefully, he'll join us here next week as well. But Dylan also gave us a scouting report as well, so let's take a look at Mr. Electric and what he has for Liberty's offense and defense.
The defending CUSA champion Liberty Flames have been, let's say, playing with fire as they come into Murfreesboro this weekend. Liberty has lost 2 consecutive CUSA games and now find themselves on the outside looking in the CUSA title race. However, that may only give the Flames more impetus to burn the opposition throughout the remainder of the season. As always, the Flames are led by their star quarterback Caden Salter, who has been a dual-threat superstar throughout his career. Although his stats this year are a bit less dramatic than 2023, it is impossible to deny the danger he presents. Salter has over 1,400 passing yards, 346 rushing yards, and is taking care of the ball, only throwing 3 INTs on the year. The former Tennessee player is looking to get back on a rocky top in his return to the Volunteer State. The 2023 CUSA Newcomer of the Year, Quentin Cooley, will also be a highlight waiting to happen. Cooley thus far has 715 rushing yards and is averaging 6.1 yards per carry on the year. He is also averaging over 16 touches per game and should see a lot of action against an MTSU defense that has been exploited by the run at times. If Cooley gets leverage against the Blue Raiders, it could be a long day for the home team. The biggest unanswered question coming into this game is which Liberty team will MTSU be getting? Will it be the team that has lost 2 in a row, or the team that dominated their way to a 13-0 start a year ago? Only time will tell how bright these Flames truly are.
Thank you for that, Dylan. And the biggest thing, too, is consistency. Consistency can, make or break a season for a team, even just kill a team's momentum altogether. But the main thing I want to talk about is the Liberty defense and how they're going to be a factor against MTSU here today.
Yeah, that's the question. And over the last couple weeks, we've seen the Liberty defense kind of get victimized. Jacksonville State ran all over them with Trey Stewart and Tyler Huff. And we also saw how they played against Kennesaw State, not being able to stop their quarterback and their running back tandem. So that's going to be the big question. Middle Tennessee certainly has the capability. You've got Nick Vadiata, you've got Terry Wilkins, you've got a lot of great offensive weapons. We'll see if MTSU can capitalize on that today. We're going to send it to another quick timeout, and when we come back, we've got a special Blue Raider spotlight as well as keys to succeed. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Blue Raider Extra Point.
right? Say hi to Becker for me.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for the extra delivery this week.
I help people.
I create music. I shape the future.
I am an entrepreneur.
I inspire people with more than words.
I ride forward.
The sky is not my limit.
Find your blue at MTSU.
Oh, you all right? Say hi to Becker for me.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for the extra delivery this week.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point here live at the Grove on the beautiful campus of Middle Tennessee State University. I got the chance to sit down with MTSU kicker Zeke Rankin this week, talk to him about his life on and off the field. Check that out right here.
When I'm approaching a kick, no matter what kick, the first thing I'm telling myself is I'm gonna make it, right? I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna close the deal. I'm not gonna mess up. I know I'm gonna do the very best, I'm gonna trust my training. The good thing about kicking is nothing changes. I walk out there, I try to take a slower approach, deep breath, line up, 3 steps back, 2 steps over, look at where I'm gonna put the ball. It's always gonna be a 90-degree angle triangle directly to the ball.
Zeke Rankin from 37.
And then from there, you kind of almost black out a little bit.
Arc, slope, trajectory, altitude.
I don't want to say habits, but it is almost like rituals that you'll kind of do slowly to develop the same consistency over time. It's all the same approach. Got to have great attention to detail. All my steps and details and alignments all have to be the same every single time. You know, there's just as much training in sports as there is in, you know, a job site. The finance and concentration in real estate major at MTSU, I dove into that when I was a sophomore. I had a family friend who owns probably one of the biggest real estate companies in town, John Jones. Reached out to him, he figured out I got my license, he was like, why don't you come work for me? Each property is its own specific property, right? Nothing's ever gonna be the same. The same way we talked about, no kick is ever the same. But at the same time, you're always gonna attack it in the same manner. I'm going out to kick a field goal, how long does that play last? From the time it's snapped to the time I kick it, 1.25 seconds. Because I've trained for 4 to 5 years to be in that position to make a kick. I've been working with them for a very, very long time, and it's the same thing as training. I'm always going to make the same vocabulary that I'm using.
Closing, equity, investment, money down.
Everything we do, you're striving to be the best, and we talk about it at football every day. The standards is what we say, but also our standard is the best. You want to be the very best at it no matter what it is. Whether it's selling houses, kicking footballs.
It's money in the bank.
It was great talking to Zeke about how he's built his success on and off the field.
Yeah, I mean, that was really cool. We get to see the life behind the player. We don't often think about what are these players doing outside of the regular day-to-day football jobs, and to see him work in real estate, that was really cool. One of the better kickers in CUSA. What an awesome story. Great stuff, Jacob. But now it's time to move into our keys to succeed. We will start with Mr. Evan Snyder. Evan, what does MTSU have to do to quell the Flames?
My keys are very defensive-centric here for the Blue Raiders. First off is stop the run game, especially Quentin Cooley you see on your screen. Also, Billy Lucas, look out for him, that secondary back. Also, Caden Salter, he can also run the ball a little bit as well, so you got to make sure you have a QB spy out for him. Just stop this run game entirety for Liberty, and if you can, if you're the Blue Raiders, you can stop them. Next up is the limit Caden Salter as well. We already mentioned, like you mentioned as well, Dylan, he's a dual-threat quarterback. He's one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the country right now. And I think if you can limit him, kind of make him force some tough throws, has 3 interceptions like you mentioned already, 2 of those coming his past 2 games. If you can limit him, it's going to be fine. I mean, he only threw for about 140 yards his last game, so if you can limit what Caden Salter can do, you'll be fine as the Blue Raiders. Lastly, it's just this defense just need to look like the defense against UTEP. They need to look like that team against the Miners because they did absolutely stellar. I mean, you had 5 different guys. 5 different guys get a sack in that game. You had Parker Hughes that also was a big factor in that middle linebacker spot. Had 1.5 tackles for loss. Again, you just have to step up, especially the secondary, against the dangerous Caden Salter. If the Blue Raiders can do those 2 things really, really well, they have a good shot at beating the Flames here, guys.
My first one is do your 111th. You hear MTSU preach it all the time. You mentioned the secondary. They've stepped up the past few weeks. They're going to need to continue doing that today. And then the offensive line needs to step up. The line has to control it. Give Nick Valiato time in the pocket. That gives him time in the pocket to get the ball out to his playmakers. It will also help set up the run game. The second one is a turnover battle. MTSU had 3 of them last week. We know Liberty's been turning the ball over more lately. Win that turnover battle, give your offense more chances. And then the last one is the ground game. Jaden Credo and Jaquario Middlebrook, they average 4 yards per carry against UTEP. We know that Liberty's given up big rushing yards lately. Jack State ran on them for over 400.
Yeah.
Have the ground game running. Starts with that offensive line, though.
All right, guys, for my keys to succeed, I'm going to start with Yak. Middle Tennessee needs to get yards after contact against Liberty, and we know that they possess some explosive wideouts, some explosive players. You've got Holden Willis, Miles Butler, and Omari Kelly. All 3 of those are incredible playmakers. If you get them the ball in space, they will make good things happen. We saw just last week how good Miles Butler can be when he gets the ball on a short pass, so get some Yak. Secondly, sustain and drain. This is a twofold key. MTSU first needs to sustain their drives on offense. If you can sustain drives for a long time and keep the explosive Liberty offense off the field, you're going to be way better off, and you're going to make it to where Caden Salter and Quentin Cooley are not touching the ball as much. That's what they're going to need to do to limit the Flames. Thirdly, big pressure. Middle Tennessee needs to pull a Swerve Strickland and apply big pressure to Caden Salter in this game. I explained to you in the scouting report how Middle Tennessee has to limit his explosive ability. Keep a QB spy on him. Do not let him get outside the pocket because he will eat you up all day if you do that. If you can apply big pressure, you're going to have a much easier time defeating Liberty here at home today. All right, we're going to take another quick timeout, and when we come back, we'll have our picks of the week with a special guest picker. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Okay, Adam, let's get a quick mic check. Yeah, sure. Blue Raider Extra Point is live at the Hall of Fame.
Hey, you and Dylan are going to be on camera 2 this week, all right?
All right, got it.
Lightning. Hey, Lightning, you can come watch us.
Oh, is that Lightning?
Hey, even better, why don't you come join us?
Oh, hey, Lightning, what's up?
Better yet, you can take Noah's spot.
The new host of Blue Raider Extra Point, the one, the only Lightning.
We do it. The stars come to Middle Tennessee State University, and students come here to become stars, no matter what they pursue. We do it. We're the only college of media and entertainment in the world, just outside the heart of Nashville.
Look, mic check, 1, 2, everybody listen. When you do it like this, ain't no competition. I'm talking B.I.G., VIP. Treat them like a front row seat and make them pay attention. If I shoot for the 3, then I ain't never missing. Cranking up the degree.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. It's now time for our picks of the week, and we are joined by a special guest, the host of the Carla and Crappy Show, Miss Carla Fox, joining us live on the set. Carla, great to have you on today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so the first question I've got for you is, tell us a little bit about your podcast. What's it about, and what do you like to talk about on this show?
Sure, so the Carla and Crappy Show has been around for 13 seasons. We started in 2012, and I have 2 co-hosts, Mike Pound and AJ Kuftik, who are also up in Pittsburgh, and so we do the show virtually every week, and we've been doing it for 13 years.
All right, sounds very entertaining. Another quick question for you. What do you think of the Conference USA football action this year, especially with all the realignment and new teams?
It's been all over the place. Not
Yes.
gonna lie, it's been kind of a wild ride this year in the CUSA. Teams that we thought were going to be good, and maybe some teams that we thought originally were good maybe aren't as good as we thought. We'll get to that a little bit here, but yeah, it's been an interesting season. Hoping that Blue Raiders can win out to get to bowl eligibility, but we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely, and you know your stuff, so we're excited to have you on and talk a little CUSA football. Let's get right to the goods. We're going to start with Kennesaw State versus UTEP.
Yeah, it's a good one to kick things off with CUSA matchups. I mean, the Owls are looking pretty good. I mean, it's 2 teams that are kind of between UTEP and also Kennesaw State, but I'm going to go with the Owls here with this one. I like what they're doing. I mean, sure, they've struggled a little bit against West Kentucky in their last game, but they did beat Liberty, who, like you mentioned, one of the top dogs in the conference, and one of the teams that are not, they're good, but maybe they're not as good. So I'm going to go with the Owls here.
I have UTEP winning this one. It's at home for them. I know they don't pack the stadium as much as some other teams, but it does create that advantage in the Sun Bowl. I have UTEP winning.
Yeah, one of these teams is going to pick up its second win of the season, whether they want to or not, right? And we're in my co-host and I, we're in consensus it's going to be UTEP. It'll be a really ugly game in one of the most beautiful stadiums in the country. Miners just have slightly more offense, slightly better defense. That adds up to a Miners win at home.
Well, guys, welcome to the CUSA Tank Bowl. Combined 2 wins between these two teams, 2-15 record overall. Whew, this is not a primetime game to watch.
No,
but even with all that, I do think it could be entertaining. UTEP, they've looked a little suspect as of late. Remember, this is a team that lost to Southern Utah earlier on this season. They've got 1 win, and that was against FIU. And they're going to the Mountain West next season, so they're getting to go to a new conference despite having all these struggles. And they haven't really had the offensive firepower that they've needed as well. Their defense, though, they've been even worse. They've been getting wrecked by a car, like a car driven by Corey LaJoy. 29.11 points per game given up on the season, and 177 rushing yards given up per game. Kennesaw's kind of impressed me as of late. Davis Bryson looking better and better with each passing week. They've got a great running back tandem. Give me Kennesaw State to win this one, 24-22, and a bit of an upset here, guys. All right, for our next one, Jacksonville State takes on Louisiana Tech.
First off, shout out Corey LaJoy. Threw him astray there. That's wild. But this one is going to be interesting. I think I'm going to go Jacksonville State on this one. I mean, La Tech lost a grueler of a game against Sam Houston, like I did mention around CUSA, where they only put up a field goal. I mean, La Tech is just not as good as they used to be. They used to be a lot better of a team inside the conference. They just kind of stalled out here towards this middle back end of the season. They just don't look that good. Jacksonville State, one of those teams that, you know, coming in here, there's some question marks around them. They're showing that they can play ball. I mean, they're undefeated in conference play. They're 4-0. They're looking to stay undefeated, which I think is going to happen against the Bulldogs. So I'm going to go with the Gamecocks here.
I have Jacksonville State also winning. They ran the ball really well last week. They're going to run the ball again this week. They're going to run the entire game. They made that jump. They've done really well this year, so I think they're going to close out and continue pushing to a possible Conference USA championship game.
Yeah, La Tech was real sloppy last week. Real sloppy. 4 turnovers against Sam Houston State, 3 fumbles and a pick. That's just not how you win football games. And meanwhile, the Gamecocks have the top scoring offense in the CUSA. Trey Stewart, I mean, come on. 232 on the ground against Liberty.
Yes.
He's in for a test this week because La Tech does have the conference's best rush defense. But we all like Jacksonville State on the road anyway.
I think that's a good pick. And when you look at the Gamecocks, they've been an absolute force as of late. Give a lot of credit to Rich Rodriguez. This program is blasted off like a rocket from Cape Canaveral. It's so hard to make a transition from FCS to FBS and have immediate success, and they've been able to do that. So kudos to them. Tyler Huff has been sensational this year. I think we all assumed that Logan Smothers would take the starting job, kind of just roll into the season, but no, Tyler Huff has come in and said, this is my yard, and I'm going to show what I'm capable of. And Trey Stewart, 232, 4 rushing touchdowns against Liberty. This guy, as Evan said, absolute dog. He's going to go out there and perform today. Louisiana Tech, they've had some problems recently, especially on offense. They've scored 17 points over the last 2 games. And, you know, my friends in Iowa City may not like to hear this, but you can't just have the punter produce all your offense for you. So although Louisiana Tech did put up 48 against MTSU, they are not going to do that today. Jacksonville State wins this one going away easily. And now for our next pick, we've got Western Kentucky versus New Mexico State.
I mean, Western Kentucky, they're looking really good. On a 3-game win streak, unbeaten at home. They're 4-0 at home. They're looking to keep things rolling. Ever since their loss against Boston College, they've looked lights out. I mean, they put up 106 points in the last 3 games. Cadenville campus looks stellar. I mean, the toppers are just it right now. Not also, they have a fire color combination with some of their uniforms. They'll go on top of it. But it's kind of just dumb to pick the Aggies in this one with how good the Hilltoppers are looking. I'm going to go Western Kentucky.
I have to agree with you again. The Hilltoppers, the air raid offense, they control the field when they run it. Also, the Aggies lost most of their team last year. They're in a rebuild year. They're not going to win. It's going to be Hilltoppers today.
Yeah, this is painful. Sitting here on the campus to say that the toppers are the class of the conference, but they are this year. Their only losses are to Alabama and BC, and they probably should have beaten Boston College.
Yeah.
New Mexico State just ain't it this year. I mean, that's what happens when your entire offense exports to Vanderbilt. And look at the success Vanderbilt's having. The Aggies will be back. This isn't them this year. Western Kentucky wins big here on the road.
Yeah, this is a tough one, guys, but this is another lopsided matchup. Western Kentucky, they've looked like the class of the conference, and it looks like they're going to make the CUSA championship game to the dismay and shock of everybody here in Murfreesboro. Nobody wants it, but unfortunately, like Thanos, sometimes it's inevitable, and you just got to deal with it. I know we're all pulling for New Mexico State upset, but man, Western Kentucky has an incredible offense. Where the heck did Caden Veltkamp come from? I mean, this guy comes in hot off the bench in week 3 against MTSU, and he's just firing in darts. Absolutely unbelievable. And when you think about the Western Kentucky pipeline with quarterbacks, Bailey Zappi, Austin Reed, and now Caden Veltkamp. The dude has 17 passing touchdowns, 1,700 passing yards, and a 70% completion percentage. Are you kidding me?
They got a factory up there.
They got a factory of quarterbacks up there in Bowling Green. New Mexico State right now with their defense, it's mimicking a car on the Autobahn. They can't stop a darn thing. They have the number 126 scoring defense in the country out of 133 qualified teams. They've given up 30-plus points in all but one of their games this year. That is not a good equation for the Aggies. I think Western Kentucky wins this one by at least 25 points. It's not even a contest. All right, everybody, the one we've all been waiting for, the one that's going to be the biggest of all, Liberty takes on Middle Tennessee right here in Murfreesboro. Let's get it going.
So I hate to do this.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I feel like every week I get set up for failure on Blue Raider Extra Point with picking against MTSU. But I just can't pick the Blue Raiders here. I got to go with Liberty. They're going to come into Murfreesboro, right? They're coming off of 2 straight losses in a row. And one game they should have won against Kennesaw State, and the other one they should have won as well. Caden Salter's going to come in here and just start slugging. I mean, they're going to come in here and kick MTSU in the teeth, essentially, and they're going to dominate the Blue Raiders. I just don't think MTSU has a shot. Vadiato's looked kind of spotty these past couple weeks as well. I just think Liberty's going to come in here and just clean house against the Blue Raiders.
I have to agree with you again. It does.
You're just copying me this entire episode. But I like it. I like it.
But I do think the first half will be close. Now, once we get to that second half, though, Liberty's going to turn it on.
I think it's going to be Liberty dominated from the get-go.
From the get-go?
Yeah, from the get-go.
I have it close, at least in the first half. Second half, though, it's going to be all Liberty.
Oh, yeah.
So I told you I have 2 co-hosts, right? And so we talked about these, and this was the only game this week that when we discussed this, we didn't come to consensus on. So my co-host AJ, who covers the group of 5, says Middle will give Liberty a game, but the challenges on defense, right, are going to against, particularly against the run, are going to be too much. Crappy and I, though, we think differently. We're not convinced that Liberty is the team that we thought it was at the beginning of the season, and I will even go as far as saying I think Liberty has the yips.
Ooh,
after losing 2 straight, including one on the road to a winless conference opponent, that's a head scratcher. Yes, the middle defense could be a liability here. They will absolutely have to play their best game of the season. I think Derek Mason knows that Liberty is reeling, is going to have his team ready to pounce. There's a sense of urgency. They have to win out. Blue Raiders stunned Liberty this afternoon in a super close game.
Yes, I love this. I love this. Now listen, for the first time in the history of this show, I have to admit I'm nervous already. I'm talking like mom spaghetti. But you know what? Middle Tennessee, this is their day to come back and make a statement. Devin, bring it to me.
What is this?
Today, the hope of the Liberty Flames ends in Murfreesboro. Middle Tennessee wins 27-24 right here at Johnny Red Floyd Stadium, and it's going to be a good one to watch. But before we go, let's take a look at some of our social media. Make sure to follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, and all other social media platforms. We got a lot of great content coming for you across MTN Sports and Middle Tennessee News, for that matter, coming off a great week of MTN content. But we want to thank you all so much for watching this edition of Blue Raider Extra Point. We will be back November 23rd for Middle Tennessee versus New Mexico State. For our guest picker, Carla Fox, for Evan Snyder, for Jacob Burgess, and our producer, Ronnie Portson, and our entire incredible crew, I am Dylan Simmons saying so long, and remember to always have an electric night.
The stars come to Middle Tennessee State University, and students come here to become stars no matter what they pursue. We're the only college of media and entertainment in the world, just outside the heart of Nashville.
Look, mic check, 1, 2, everybody listen. When you do it like this, ain't no competition. I'm talking B.I.G., VIP. Treat them like a front row seat and make them pay attention. If I shoot for the 3, then I ain't never missing. Cranking up the degrees like I was in the kitchen. Can't lose, got too much to prove. And when you do it all, it get too hard to do.
Our curriculum and facilities are cutting edge, and our relationships with industry leaders give students an edge over the competition. Check it out. You can get real-world experience with degrees in recording industry, media arts, journalism and strategic media, and more. Media and entertainment at Middle Tennessee State University. Learn to shine.
Okay, Adam, let's get a quick mic check.
Yeah, sure. Blue Raider Extra Point is live at the Hall of Fame.
Hey, you and Dylan are going to be on camera 2 this week, all right?
All right, got it.
Lightning. Hey, Lightning, you can come watch us.
Oh, is that lightning?
Hey,